Hello everybody, it's DJ here with another Monday Motivation. I hope your week has started out great. Well, we just wrapped up Easter. I hope you had a very good Easter. It was fascinating to watch all the celebrations that were going on around the world, and Easter is a special time. It is a very special time in the fact that the majority of the world takes time out to remember the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. And it got me to thinking about things, the way we can look at stuff, because the death of Jesus was horrific. It was brutal. The Romans were masters at capital punishment, and they really brought down the punishment upon Jesus. If we saw it ourselves, we would be repulsed by how awful crucifixion was, and we would think that it's just this horrific thing. And it was. But the reality is, it is one of those things where God turns it into one of the greatest gift that mankind has ever been given. And that is that we have salvation through the cross. And it really got me to thinking about how we look at the challenges and the struggles that we have in life, and how we need to make sure that we look at the struggles and pains that we have in this life as something that may not be such a bad thing when we're through it. Certainly is that what Jesus went through was a very bad thing. We don't want to discredit that. We won't ever really want to say that's a good thing. The outcome is what was great about it, is that Jesus, the perfect Lamb, was sacrificed in our place so that we might have the hope of heaven. In the same way, some of the things that we go through in life might be the very things that make us better. Before there was a crown, there was a cross. Sometimes there is sunshine, there is rain. And sometimes before there is joy, there is suffering. And before we go and criticize God for all of that, we really probably ought to take a different look at all of this pain and suffering that we have. We need to remember that God does some of his best work when we're going through some of the challenges that we have in life. You may be walking through pain and suffering and some sort of challenge in your own life right now. And it's important for us to remember that God is working in those moments. He hasn't left us. You might be sitting there wondering, God, where are you in all of this? And the fact of the matter is God is working through that with you. Think about this. A diamond is made from all of this pressure that comes around it. When you think about gold, gold is actually refined by fire to burns out all of those impurities. Jesus had to go through the grave before the resurrection. You got to understand that God is not avoiding your pain. He's working through it. And we need to make sure that we keep that in mind as we're going through these challenges. You know, I sit back and think about 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 through 7. Here Peter writes, "In this you rejoice, though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been grieved by various trials, so that the tested genuineness of your faith may be found to the result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ." You know, that pressure you feel, that might not be punishment. It actually might not be punishment at all. It actually could be preparation. It could very well be preparation. You see, we go through life and we want life to be so joyful and happy all the time that we want to shine, but we don't want the struggle that goes with that. We want the testimony, but we don't want the test. You see what I'm saying? Is that we have to understand that growth and comfort don't coexist. And so when we're growing, when we're going through these trials and tribulations that we sometimes will face, that may actually be the very things that are defining us as people of God and making us stronger. So, I mean, let's be clear. The weight that you might be carrying right now may be the weight that is actually shaping you. Just like the weight that you have to sometimes, if you want to build up muscle in your body, sometimes you got to lift weights, and that's not always fun, and that's always a challenge, and it's heavy. but it shapes you and becomes the person that you want to be at the end of it. The fire isn't fun, but it's necessary because it refines us. So don't curse the fire. Don't curse the fire at all. Let God refine you through it. You know, one of the truths of life is the fact that when you feel like everything is falling apart, and it may be because of some decisions that we've made, but when everything feels like it's falling apart, if we turn and we trust God, it might very well be that God is putting the pieces back together in a way that we haven't even imagined. And it will be a much, much better way than what we would have done if we went about it our own way. So it's important that we keep that in mind. So here's the challenge that I have for you this week. If you're going through some sort of fire, or you're going through some challenge, it doesn't matter if it's a huge challenge or even a small one. If you're going through a challenge, here is what you need to consider. Don't run from the pressure. Don't run from it. Instead, stop and pray and ask God, what is this shaping me to be? What are you doing in me through this trial that I'm going through this struggle that I'm going through? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And just say to yourself, this fire is not going to destroy me. It's going to refine me. It's going to define me and how I come out on the other side golden. Look, the cross was ugly. It was very ugly. And the grave was dark. The grave is dark. The fire is sometimes incredibly, incredibly hot. But the outcome of all of it changes everything. God turns stumbling blocks into stepping stones. And it's something that we should remember every single day. No matter the size of the challenge that we face, if it is a stumbling block right now, it can be turned into a stepping stone if we turn and we listen and trust and have faith in God. That is the key to a great week this week. So if you're going through those trials and you're going through the struggles, remember that God loves you and that He is refining you and He is doing a great thing in you. Just let the process work and remember that the fire won't destroy you, and the struggles may seem to be so overwhelming, but the truth of the matter is that God does love you and that God is going to bring all the pieces together to be something special, to make you special because you are. So just put your faith and trust in God, and remember, always remember that God loves you, and I do too. Bye.